everybody, welcome to the Scott Show. We are talking today on the pop culture channel. We're going to talk about something that I kind of grew up with. I watched on Comedy Central, and I watched all of the shows. So 93 shows that they went into syndication. It was 1977, September 13th, so a little less than a month ago. And wow, I couldn't even think of that. Was 40 years ago. The show Soap came out. Now, if you're thinking, what is this show about and where can I see it? You can buy all the DVDs on Amazon.com. You can check it out. I think it's on Crackle. Amazing stuff. So, folks, I am going to right now give you the beginning of the show of Soap. So this is the narrator and what they start out with on the show. All right. The narrator, open narration, says, "This is the story of two sisters, Jessica Tate and Mary Campbell. Jessica lives in a neighborhood known as Rich. Jessica likes life. The only thing about life that she would change if she would set it all to music. The Tates have more secrets than they have money. Now we're approaching Mary Campbell's house. Mary, too, likes life. Unfortunately, life is not too crazy about her. As you see, the Campbells do not have nearly as much money as the Tates. They do, however, have just as many secrets. Our story begins one morning in Dunn's River, Connecticut." So there you go, folks. That is the beginning of the show Soap from Season 1. It is a really great show. And like I said, it ran from 1977 to 1981. I'm going to give you guys the characters of the show Soap, and we're going to start out with the rich folks, right? I mean, that's how we do it. You start out with the rich folks. We start out with Tate's. Jessica Tate, played by Katherine Hellman. Some of you guys might know Katherine Hellman from Who's the Boss, where she played Mona. Now in this she plays Jessica Tate, married to the wealthy Chester Tate, played by Robert Mandan, who is probably one of my favorite characters on this show. He's so sleazy on this show, but he plays it off so great. And his back and forth with a lot of the different people is just phenomenal. It's very entertaining. That's why one of the reasons I like the show so much is it's that great. So, then we go to the kids. We have Billy Tate, played by Jimmy Baio, which I believe is Scott Baio's younger brother. Billy is the youngest and only son of Jessica and Chester. And according to Benson, he's the only one in the family worth a damn. You guys will totally hear about all of this stuff a little later on in this. Corinne Tate is another one, played by Diana Casanova. She's great, and she is in love with the priest. So she has her problems, and the priest, his name is Father Timothy Flotsky. His mother, you may know from Everyone Loves Raymond. Doris Roberts plays the mother of Timothy Flotsky, and it's great stuff. And once you get into that story, it's awesome. Eunice Tate, played by Jennifer Salt, is a spoiled rich kid. She dates a congressman who's married, and I'm giving away some spoilers, so I'm sorry, folks, but it is what it is. And then she falls in love down the road with somebody else. A lot of the love triangles are pretty funny. Dutch is the man who she ends up marrying, who Eunice ends up marrying, and so check that out. It's pretty great. The Major suffers from dementia. Arthur Peterson Jr. plays his character, and he plays it to an absolute wonderful level. Him and Benson go back and forth. Benson is played by Robert Guillaume. Now, Benson, his character actually went on to have his own show to work with the governor. It originally was a spin-off of the show Soap. So, if you guys are wondering why that name would sound familiar, Benson is the he's the hired help of the house. And he's often really funny. Him and Chester Tate have really great back and forth about whether he should answer the door, and he plays the great straight man to the crazy crap that goes on in the Tate family. Then we move on to the Campbells, and that's Mary Campbell, played by Catherine Damon. Catherine Damon is one of my favorite actresses. She plays the straight character over on the Campbell side to a T. Just amazing how she can handle all the crap that's going on around her and still have that kind of face that's like, hey, I can do this, I can do this. So definitely check this. Check out anything that Catherine Damon does. I mean, it's just amazing. And Catherine Damon is so great in this and plays the straight character so great because her husband on the show, Burt Campbell, played by the fantastically awesome, I can't say it enough how great he is, Richard Mulligan. You guys might know him from Empty Nest and probably a few other things down the road, but Richard Mulligan, he's the man in this show. Let me tell you, he's the guy. He's a family man. He has a strong marriage with Mary. They are super close. Nothing can split them apart. However, it does look at the end of the series, it looks like they are kind of going on a little bit different. And of course, there is the thing in season 1 where I'm not going to spoil it too much since that's a huge big deal. But let's just say Bert gets in a little bit of hot water over what happens with Mary's first husband. So there you go. Chuck and Bob Campbell. Now I like this one a lot. Chuck Campbell is Bert's son by a first marriage that he had. Chuck is played by Jay Johnson, and he has a dummy. His alter ego is Bob. He's a dummy. He's a doll, and it's a great character. They lived in Hawaii for the longest time, and then they moved back, and it's a doll. Danny Dallas is Mary Campbell's oldest son. He is played by Ted Wasp. Now, if you remember Ted Wasp from anything, he played the father on the show Blossom, and he also is right now producer or director, one of the two, on the show Two Broke Girls. So he's obviously out there doing amazing things right now. Big shout out to Ted. If he ever hears this, I would just be blown away on how great. Danny Dallas was such a great character. It says here on Wikipedia, which I'm kind of using for the character outlines, he was sweet-natured and good-looking, but not particularly bright. I just thought he was very naive of a lot of things. He's a low-level gangster, according to what it says. However, the story takes so much of a turn on how great Danny Dallas was and how much he was so caring and so loving to everyone around him. And it was just pretty cool. So, and it was great how he worked with his half-brother, who ends up his half-brother Jody, who is played by, now this is fun here, Billy Crystal. This is Billy Crystal's biggest role to start with. Billy Crystal is the son of Mary Campbell and the first husband, Johnny Dallas. He's openly gay. He starts out dating a quarterback, which I thought was kind of a trip. It was way back in 1977 to 81 where that wasn't the thing to happen. So you guys will definitely have to check that out. He does actually sleep with a woman on the show and ends up with a child. Definitely check that out. It's just Billy Crystal. I mean, come on, it's Billy Crystal. So I mean, I think the Campbells have it over the Tates when it comes to the kids and what they've done. with their lives. And of course, Bert Campbell's the first child you get to meet out of him is Peter Campbell, played by Robert Urich. Robert Urich was in everything in the 80s. He was the sex symbol of the 80s. However, he does not last long on the show, as that is the first season cliffhanger having to do with Peter Campbell. So definitely check him out as a great character. He's a great tennis pro. He gets to hang out with the Tates a lot, let's just say that. Benson, Robert Guillaume, like I said, just a great character, amazing, and just funny as heck. And Saunders was the replacement for Benson as the cook and butler, and it's a little bit more cultured than Benson. I think that if that would have started the show, I think it would have brought it down a little bit. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's just great. Roddy actually is the announcer of the show. The fact that you have Roddy as the announcer just brings so much credibility to an already huge show that has so much credibility already. And you have awesome recurring characters, and I just want to touch on a few of these characters because not only are they important to the story because they're so great, but they are important to the fact of pop culture back in the 80s and even now, to see that these characters got on the show, which in 1977 was known as PTA TV Enemy Number 1, and you got all these people on the show. Amazing stuff. Harold Gould, I'm sorry. He plays Barney Gerber in the show. It's in season 1. Check it out. It is awesome. He plays a great character. He shares a room in the hospital and gives inspiration. I think, it's just kind of one of those inspirational things that's great for a character. Gordon Jump from KRP in Cincinnati is in here as Chief of Police Tinkler, or I think at one point he called himself the Piece of Chalif. So I thought that was a great one. Gene Roshi is in here. He plays a lawyer. So definitely check him out, as he is probably one of my favorite recurring characters in the show. And yeah, he's just funny. Diana Manoff, who was in Grease, is in here as well. Howard Hessman plays Mr. Franklin, who's also an attorney on there. Howard Hessman is a great character. You might know him from... Oh, now it just escaped me. Oh, God. Howard Hessman was on a show on ABC, Head of the Class. Okay, and he also on KRP in Cincinnati, so there's a lot of going back there. Joe Magna is on the show as Juan. I actually like that. And El Porco, Gregory Sierra playing a great anti-communist character. So they brought out everything in the 80s. They did, like I said, Doris Roberts is in there. Barbara Rhodes is in there. She was awesome. Rebecca Balding is on there. So, I mean, these are amazing characters and people that have stood the test of time as far as pop culture. I mean, Doris Roberts just passed away not even a year ago, I think, and she still is revered as one of the greatest actresses, mom characters of all time on Everybody Loves Raymond and all these other shows, and she plays on that one too. And like I said, I will leave you guys with this quote from Harry F. Waters from Newsweek, and it says, "Soap promises to be the most controversial network series of the coming season. A show so saturated with sex that it would replace violence as the PTA's video enemy number 1." Alright, so folks, this has been the show of Soap. If you guys want round 2 and some updates on the show, it's really awesome. You guys can always like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Put some comments in there. I'll answer all the questions that you guys want. If you guys ever have questions that you want answered or just whatever, post them in the comments and I'll do a whole video on that. So Folks, thank you so very much. I'm super excited I got to share a little bit about one of my favorite shows on TV, the show of Soap. And on the next episode of Soap, the Tates and Campbells will do something funny. So, folks, like I said, my name is Scott, as the chair and director of the 102550 Homeless Project. As we are working to end homelessness and poverty, we need your guys' help. So, like, share, subscribe. All of the stuff that we do is for a reason. So check us out. And we thank all of you, and you guys have a great rest of your night.